All right. So, all right, everybody, we're live. I want to welcome you here to session number 2 with a good friend of mine, Ricco Davis. It's on CPA monetization, and you'll see here this is Monetization Pathway Strategies, session number 2. So I know that some of you were not here for session 1. I encourage you after this to go back and watch session 1. Ricco Davis has been doing this for an awfully long time. I gave him a crazy awesome introduction last week. I won't spend 30 minutes telling you how great he is this week, but I will tell you this. I have personally met my students, or met his students, that are just, some of them that have done $250,000 a month doing exactly what he's getting ready to show you right here. And I was so shocked and just shocked, I guess is the only word I can use, that I actually brought them down to our offices, had them train my staff on how to do exactly what Ricco's talking about and introducing you to here, both on session 1 and now further on session 2. So this is these are probably the first. Well, I will say he is the first person I have ever brought in to teach me anything. Most of the time I see something exist, like I see an opportunity, whether it's Facebook marketing or email marketing or whatever, I see that opportunity exists, and I just go out and get it myself. I don't bring someone in to teach me. I kind of feel like I'm smart enough and have been in this world long enough, this internet marketing world long enough, to figure out things on my own, without having a mentor, without having a coach, without having a boot camp. This was one of the first times where I felt like this is so far beyond what I do and where I've been that I want to learn this. And I didn't actually even learn it directly from Ricco. I actually learned it from the first phase of it anyway, from some of his really successful students, and then further the continued consulting and mentoring with Ricco himself. So it's a real treat to have him here, and I think all of you know by now. We've done, I don't know, I think this is webinar number 5. We've done a lot of these webinars. Every single webinar has been me teaching, or I'll bring my brother in and let my brother teach, because I know that email marketing and Facebook marketing go hand in hand, because you can use Facebook to build leads and CPV marketing to build your email list. It is very rare that I bring in someone from outside of my company or family, if you will, and allow them access to my students. You've got to realize, I work really hard to provide crazy good value to you guys, but also, I've worked really hard to gain you as students, right? To have you guys a part of our Inbox Inner Circle, and to have you using my training, my software, my programs, kind of what I've carved out for my students. And so to bring someone else in and say, hey, what I'm teaching you is great, but there's also, while you're learning what I'm showing you, there's also this whole other world that is kind of revolved. It's in the same space that we're in, but it's completely different. And all the stuff I'm teaching you, you can use over here doing what Ricco does, and you can literally double your success, right? Because you're playing kind of like on 2 fields at one time. Same game, just 2 different opportunities. And so it's very, very rare. In fact, this is the only time I'll do it. You won't see other people on here. But I feel like it's that important. What Ricco has taught me, we'll talk about a little bit more. I'm going to give my personal story, testimonial for his training later on tonight, so I can give you a little more insight. But I will tell you, we look to do close to $1 million in revenue this year from the training that we have taken with Ricco. How many of you feel like that's pretty damn awesome? That I have learned how to do something that's on pace right now to do $1 million this year, and I learned it from him. you know, from his students, nonetheless, right? So he has super successful students, which was just mind-boggling to me. Great. So everybody says yes. So I told you I wouldn't introduce him for 30 minutes, and that's gone on about 7. So we'll stop there. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to get started. Rico's going to take over. He's going to go through session 2. For those of you that missed session 1, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. He's going to recap a little bit of session 1, so not a ton of stuff missed out. And there will be an opportunity for you to continue to learn from Ricco. He's just phenomenal. So I believe that that this is time well spent. Listen, turn off your cell phones, turn off televisions, tell people that are, distracting you in the room to go away. Focus, pay attention, and I guarantee you what you're about to learn tonight is something that I know firsthand has changed my business and added $1 million or so in revenue to my company. And I'm excited to share it with you. So with that said, Ricco, I'll let you take over and let you get started, man.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Anthony, as usual. I'm glad to be here again. Definitely had a lot of positive feedback last week, so I'm definitely excited to continue the conversation with you guys. But again, Anthony, definitely thank you. It's always an honor just to be able to interact with you with all the success you've had and kind of be able to bring value to you and your business. So that's pretty cool to keep doing that. But with that said, I just want to get right into it. I'm all about results, and I definitely want to start talking about some things that you guys can start implementing and kind of wrap your head around what I'll be talking about here today in this second session. So like Anthony said, I'm just going to recap really quickly here and just have a earnings disclaimer. I'll be talking about some numbers and things like that, and I can't guarantee any income that you specifically will make. Yes, I have very successful students, as Anthony mentioned. Some who have made as much as $10 million, but I can't guarantee that's going to happen for you. So obviously, I just have to kind of say all that before I begin. Again, there's no guarantee that any success that you have or will have, based on the information I'll teach, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Okay, so let's go. Again, real quickly, my name is Ricco Davis, founder and creator of Monetization Mastery. The name of my company is called Pro Monetize, and within our company, we created a curriculum called Monetization Mastery, essentially. So our company, while we do consult with companies and teach people how to generate more leads as either affiliate marketers or for their own businesses, we actually do it ourselves. So we actually have a team of people who actually work for us that actually generate leads, internally for our team. So it's not like I just teach stuff. We actually do it as well. And I think that lends itself to the reason that we have a high rate of success, because we're not teaching theory. We're teaching stuff that we actually do day in and day out at a very, very deep level. So so again, that's me. Just real quick, again, for those of you who weren't on last week's session, I have a background in corporate finance, a degree in finance. I've been generating income online since 2002. I've kind of got thrown into the speaking arena because of the success I had with our private clients. So that kind of propelled me kind of in the front of stuff before I really started to do speaking and coaching and all that. I was the guy behind the scenes that was managing $1 million a month marketing campaigns, and I would teach our clients how to do it themselves. They'd have a lot of success, and I kind of got thrown out there. They say, hey, you should teach this to other people. So that's kind of how I kind of got into this space. But my specialization is in lead generation and monetization, and since 2007, I've helped my clients generate $20 million, and that's gone up. That goes up each month since 2007. And those are the ones that kind of get back to me and let me know how much they've actually made for my teachings, because a lot of people I train, I don't even know. I meet them at an event. They say, hey, I just made $100,000 in the last 3 months, and I didn't even know they were a client of mine because they just took some course that I had. So that's always cool. That's always exciting. That means I feel that what I teach it works. It provides value to people, and I think the reason it does is because we just teach what we do. It's not like we make this stuff up. If you want to get a better idea of kind of the stuff I'll be talking about here, I have a free guide. There's nothing for sale in there or anything like that, called monetizeordie.com. Let's kind of talk about, what I believe is needed to really survive in the online marketing space to the point where you're creating $1 million business. So that's kind of my philosophy, not just how to make money, but really the mindset, how to think about how to build your business and things like that. I'll be talking a lot about monetize. So for those of you who may not know exactly what that means, it's basically to convert something to currency. So in our case, we're talking about lead monetization or email monetization. So essentially, we're taking a lead or an email address in this case and converting it to money. All right. So that's what we'll be talking about in a nutshell. Again, I talked about all this last week, so I'm going through it a little quickly, because I really want to get into the meat of what I have to talk about. But if you have questions, obviously, we'll definitely address those as we go through. So again, what I'm really going to be focusing on is email monetization, getting an email address and monetizing it, turning that email into money. All right. And the reason that, just really quickly on my story, when I started doing this full time back in 2007, I was doing media buys. Essentially buying banner ads on high traffic websites like CNN.com, weather.com, like that, and we were basically sending traffic to affiliate offers at a very high level. And we weren't really doing any collecting of email addresses at the time. We were just what I call arbitraging traffic. We would pay $1 per click, and we would try to make $1.10 on the back end. So we would just try to make a 10% return, and we would just do that, as much as $50,000 or $100,000 a day. So it's pretty high level stuff. But when we started getting into the email side, so it said, okay, well, instead of us just sending this traffic off to an advertiser or to a product, let's collect the email first. And that enabled us to really grow our business in a much more sustainable way. So I really, as I started to build our company, ProMonetize, I wanted to say, let's focus on the foundation of email marketing and build up from there. And that's what we've done. And the reason that and obviously you guys have taken it, you're in this course, Inbox to Inner Circle, so you understand, or at least you appreciate the power of email. And if you don't, or maybe you're still wrapping your mind around all this, just realize that email traffic is the glue that holds the internet together. You can't do anything online without an email address. I mean, you can't interact, with the website, with Facebook, with any other traffic source without an email address. Without email, the internet wouldn't be a cohesive thing as it is today. So just keep that in mind. And last week I talked about email addresses as a commodity. Basically, when we look at emails, because we are a data monetization company, that's essentially what we do, and then we also do consulting as well. But on the data monetization side, we have companies that might come to us that have several 100,000 email addresses on their list, and they want to generate more revenue from those emails. Obviously, they've built a relationship with those people over time, but they feel that they aren't maximizing the revenue that they're generating from them. So we look at it as, like, yes, these are real people that are behind these email addresses, but we look at it strictly from a number standpoint, and we say this email is worth X amount of dollars to you over this period of time. So we look at it as a commodity. And the reason I bring this point up is that when you start to do this, when you start to build your list, you want to start looking at it from a financial standpoint, and I'll be talking about it later, like looking at it as an investment, where you're investing into an email address for the purpose of getting return on it. And what I found that my students and clients that look at it like that have much more success, because they can both be developing a really quality relationship with their list to an extent, and then also being able to calculate the revenue that they're going to generate from that list by providing value to them. So it kind of, it all works hand in hand. So I talked about monetization pathways. I kind of defined that last week, and just real quickly I'll talk about it here. But again, I use the fancy term monetization. Like I said, I'll use that a lot. But at the end of the day, monetization pathway is really just a sales funnel. It's just really a way to get somebody through, take somebody through a series of steps for the purposes of getting them to do something where you would generate revenue. In this case, convert somebody. So most people understand a pathway, quote unquote, as somebody opts in to a form and they get sent to an affiliate offer, or you follow up with them with emails that then sell them on different products or services that you may be promoting as an affiliate. Simple enough, and essentially at its foundation, that's all a monetization pathway is. So I don't want you to get caught up on the terminology and kind of lose what I'm talking about, because I might be using words that you don't really use on a regular basis. But again, it's a sales funnel, but the way that we do it is slightly different, like Anthony mentioned, than probably what a lot of you have done in the past or maybe have even heard of. So last week I talked about the top 10 online markets. I'm not going to go through all this, but you can definitely review the last week's session. But a lot of the markets that we focus on are in the financial consumer finance space, and I'll kind of show you some examples briefly. But when you look at this, and I really want to kind of talk from a bigger picture standpoint before I get into really specifics, is really when you have your own email list and you're building your own email list, you essentially own your traffic. It's your traffic source. So it's not a situation where you're always like, oh, where do I get traffic? Or I need to get more traffic to make money today. It's, yes, you always want to be getting more traffic or generating more leads if you're trying to grow your business, but you have to also understand that your email list in itself is a traffic source. And I've had situations that I talked about last week where we had a client who had a list, and these are just examples of several lists that we have. I remember logging into one of our clients. He couldn't afford our coaching at the time, and he had a list that looked like this, but it had like 110,000 people on it, and he didn't know what to email them anymore. He had emailed them for 30 days. He had a product, and he just had a 30-day autoresponder sequence, and he just figured after that was done, he didn't know what to do. The product that he was selling was no longer around anymore, and he was kind of frustrated. And I said, well, let us go in there. We'll send some emails for you and show you how much money you're sitting on. And it was to the tune of $3,000 a day very consistently for the first week of us mailing that list. And then we just helped them, to generate additional revenue and build that list and kind of continue to generate revenue. So that was a life-changing thing for him. For us, it was like it's like like in our mind, we're like it's email address is a commodity. When we see an email list of 100,000 people, we see this is money sitting on the table right here. But not everybody sees it like that, and that's why I talk about it that way, because I've been doing this long enough where I realize that people don't look at it in the same way that we do, and that might be a detriment to your business, because you are literally maybe sitting on money, literally tens of thousands of dollars, and just because you didn't know the type of email to send out, or that you could send this type of email to that list. So those little things make a difference, and that's not something we knew. We just discovered that over time by working with people who had something, who had an asset, as we call it. An email address is an asset, and they didn't know how to monetize it properly. So that's what we specialize in. We help people. That's what we help people do. All right, so let's kind of get into the nitty-gritty here. So basically, what I want to talk about is CPA marketing. It's cost per action marketing, and basically at the end of the day, what we do, what most of our revenue is generated from, is generating leads for companies, for offers, for CPA networks. All right, and I'm just going to briefly show a few examples of CPA offers. Let me just pull this over here. All right, can you guys see my screen? Okay. All right, okay. Let's see here. Okay, cool. All right, so basically, I'm not going to go through all these like I did last week. I'm just going to kind of go through them briefly so you kind of understand what I'm getting at here. But these sites I'm going to show you are CPA offers. This offer pays a few dollars for somebody just to enter their name and email address. Okay. This site, pays a few dollars for somebody just to complete a simple form. All right, so basically, this is the type of stuff that I kind of want you guys to realize that people are doing these type of offers, auto loan, finance offers. There are tens of thousands of leads a day, to these types of sites, and nobody has to buy anything. All this person has to do is simply enter some basic information. Usually, in this case, what type of car they have or what type of car they want, their contact details, and that's it. And you would make money. Same thing for this type of site. This is a site that if somebody has a injury and they want to potentially seek compensation, this is a site that people would use for that purpose. And they can fill this out. You get paid, depending on this offer, as much as a few $100s in some cases for these type of legal offers, but nobody has to actually buy anything. So this is, again, what we do is what we call lead generation marketing. Here's another example, credit cards. Again, I know I talked a lot about this last week, but I'm just going over briefly for those of you who didn't weren't on last week, or who maybe are just needed a recap of what we're talking about. So you'll get approved instantly for credit card. They don't have to get approved in some cases. All they have to do is fill out the form. In some cases, they just might have to enter their email address and their credit rating, and you essentially would get paid. All right, so it's really simple stuff. Disability, Social Security disability benefits, and these offers are offers that we would promote. You know, basically. So I just want you guys to realize the versatility, the number of different type of what we call offers that you can promote, so you're not just stuck with one specific niche or vertical. And each one of these, you know, can create literally $1 million business for you. So it's not like, you know, this offer, you know, you only can make a few dollars a day from. You could build what we call a monetization pathway around all of these or any of these offers, or in this case, you know, this offer here. Basically, on their back end, when somebody opts in here, and I'm not going to go through it, but when somebody opts in here, they actually have a chance to get presented with all of these offers here, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to show this. So just making sure I know I'm clicking through here quickly, making sure you guys can see my screen. Okay. So yeah, so and here's a business loan offer, and then a student loan offer for people who are looking to basically get their student loan debt reduced. Okay, so basically that is CPA marketing. These are CPA offers. This is what we do. We promote these types of offers. I mean, and there's other offers in different verticals in health, coupons, gaming. You know, there's literally thousands of different offers. So there's no shortage of offers that are available. Okay, so what I wanted to do really this session in particular was break down the numbers, okay? Because that's very important. All right, so obviously this looks very complicated, but it's not. You know, this is just kind of get you an idea. Like, really, a lot about online marketing in general is really about numbers and understanding and being able to read the numbers effectively. Because if you can't, if you're trying to make money online, but you don't know what the numbers mean, it's going to be very difficult to really scale. And when people come to me for coaching and consulting, or clients that we're working with that want to grow their business, and we're helping them, you know, do a better job at monetizing their current email list or what have you, or the traffic to their site, we have to understand what their numbers are and how we can help them improve it. It doesn't make sense, for, you know, if we kind of understand it in general terms. We have to really understand, you know, why these numbers are important and why we need to be looking at them. All right. So I want to talk about a concept that I feel is extremely important, super important. You know, where, you know, you guys should, if you write it down, you know, put it, you know, somewhere where you can always remember it. I mean, because it's very applicable to what you're already learning and what you've been learning from Anthony with this course. And basically, you want to make sure that you understand this concept. It's called monetization momentum. All right, and basically this concept is basically like the foundation that I believe is the foundation of being able to scale effectively. Okay, so basically, let me just explain what this chart is. So on this side, you know, this is the amount of money that we're spending on generating leads. All right, so don't get intimidated by the numbers here. So you know, this is like 5,000, 10,000. So basically, the blue line is the income made. Okay, so you see how the income line goes kind of up like that there, and then the orange line is expenses. So what you're looking at essentially is a graph of somebody spending $1,000 a day consistently. So they're spending the same amount of money, but, you know, so day one they spend $1,000, day two they spend $1,000, but, you know, 1,000 plus 1,000 is 2,000. So that's why it gradually goes up over time, because the total amount they spent is growing up. So by day, as you can see here, by day 7 they spent about $7,000 on traffic. But as you see here, the blue line takes about 7 days to intersect with the orange line. What that means is that it took them, in this example, 7 days to break even before they were making money, before they were making profits. Let me say that. All right. So this is a very important concept, because if people don't get this, this is like the difference between, you know, playing being an amateur, playing amateur football versus, being a champion football player, or just in sports in general. I like to make sports analogies. But the point is that most people will do this. Like when they start anything, it's not just about email marketing, but just in general, they will, spend some money. Doesn't have to be $1,000 a day or anything, but just for example's sake, that's a simple number. But they would spend, $10, $20 a day here and there, and then they'd say, oh, well, I'm spending more money than I'm making. All right, and they would stop. And then they would maybe send, in this case, some more email addresses. Maybe they get close to break even, but they realize, like, oh, I have to buy more traffic to get more leads to kind of get to this point. And then they don't get the momentum needed to really get to this level where you're like excelling. You're going, what we call like the hockey stick graph, where you're like kind of chugging along, and then all of a sudden you have this huge momentum surge. That is the key. That is the key, basically, and I'll be talking about that a lot. But the reason that I love email marketing so much is because you can get an email address, and that email address can continue to generate revenue for you for a very long time. A very long time. I mean, you guys are on the email list, obviously, and you've probably bought products, that you received in an email, and you probably bought multiple products, and maybe from multiple, products from the same person. Think about that on the other side, where you're the marketer, or you're the one that's doing the promoting. That is not a unusual scenario. That's very common with email marketing. And if you understand that concept and you trust the process, because a lot of people I see just from all the coaching I've done, people who trust this as like a mathematical truth have much more success than people who say, well, what if this, what if that, so basically that's why I stress this concept so much, because it's important. And when people get this, when they get that, hey, I might not be profitable within the first couple days or even the first week, and depending on how you're generating traffic, within the first month maybe, but if I continue to push forward, the work that I've done 30 days ago or 3 weeks ago or a week ago will reap massive rewards in the future, as long as I keep pushing forward and keep maintaining that level of momentum. That is the secret. That is our secret to success. That's one of the main secrets to our success, that we keep pushing forward, and and by getting to this level, you can then really take things skyrocket, where you're talking about $250,000 a month, $1 million a year businesses. But that doesn't happen if you quit before you get to this point, because that's what a lot of people will do. So if this is one day or if this is 1 week, people unfortunately, a lot of people won't get to that point, or they'll get just to this point and then they fall off. They don't realize the momentum that they've gotten. Just like the example where the gentleman who came to us, who had a list of 110,000 people, he actually made $80,000 from that list before coming to us, but he stopped because he didn't know what to do next, and then obviously we helped him, but he stopped the momentum. He didn't even just test something. That momentum, maybe helped them generate thousands of dollars over the course of the first 60 days of him working with us. But he could have generated maybe even tens of more thousands of dollars, just by kind of pushing forward and not just kind of stopping and kind of not doing anything with it. So it's an extremely important concept that I want to make sure everybody gets, because that's going to be the key difference between you having like a little bit of success and having like massive success. All right, so hopefully you guys kind of appreciate the importance of that, and that's why I wanted to spend some time on this. It's a simple chart, but it's a very powerful concept that you should always be keeping in the forefront of your mind for whatever you're doing, email marketing or whatever. Do not stop. Do not say, okay, I had a bad day, or I didn't make as much money as I want today. Let me take a break and come back to it in 2 weeks from now. That will kill your momentum, and then you won't be able to really see the level of success, or it'll take longer to see the level of success that I know you can see just by following this. This is something I feel very strongly about, as you can tell. All right, so with that said, I just kind of want to get some important email metrics. Don't feel that you need to understand all of this right away, okay? Just kind of let it sink in. Obviously, you can watch the replays and everything like that as well. But these are things that we look at when we're growing a list, when we're sending emails to a list. One of the things that we look at is called eCPM. It essentially means how much are we making for every 1,000 email addresses that we're sending. The E means earnings, or depending on who's looking at the stats, it could be either mean effective, but we call earnings. It's easier to understand earnings per 1,000 email addresses sent. CPM is 1,000 emails in this case. All right. So it's like how much are we making per 1,000 emails sent, which kind of gives us a good idea of the quality of our list and the type of message that we're sending. So it kind of gives us a good ballpark of where we're at as far as that. Open rates, most of you guys understand that. You know, we look at open rates and we look at the click-through rates. One of the things that's very important with email marketing, and we have hours-long conversations each week with me and my team about maximizing our open rates, our click-through rates, our engagement. So one thing that you'll hear, the longer you hear me talk and or whatever, I talk a lot about engagement. How are you engaging your list? How are you maximizing your open rates and your click-through rates? They are very important. I'll say that to keep it simple. They're very important on the level of success you have as an email marketer. And these things, you kind of learn over time. Obviously, getting different feedback from how your list is reacting to certain messages and other messages, or just seeing, if you have an autoresponder sequence, just seeing how people are responding to it. All right. So these are very important email metrics, and there's a lot of others, but these are important ones that we look at on the basic level to get a good feel for the quality of our list. And this is just a calculation on how we look at eCPM. And eCPM is a total revenue. So if we have a list of 100,000 people, and we send an email to them, and we made $10,000, we would basically put, okay, well, we sent an email to 100,000 people, and we made $10,000 in revenue. So we would just kind of plug that in, and we would then calculate, how much are we earning per 1,000 email addresses sent, and that gives us in the CPA marketing world. A lot of the times depending on the networks that you're working with, they'll tell you like, okay, this is the CP, this is the EPC, the earnings per click that you see. So we can kind of use that into our equation as well. And again, I don't want you guys to get confused over all the numbers and things like that, because you don't need to feel that you need to be a master at the numbers. You just need to understand the basics, and most of the stuff is already done for you. Most of the networks you can see, like, or when you're sending emails, you can see the open rates, you can see the click-through rates. Then it just becomes the decisions that you're going to be making based off of that information. Actually, I went through that. What I wanted to do right now is talk about a case study. All right, so I can give you guys some idea of like the type of stuff that we do. So before I go through this, there's a lot. We do a lot of stuff. Like I said, we have a team. I have a team. And we, some of our team are what we call mailers. They're just sending emails to different lists that we're either managing or that we built. That's their focus. So we have other people on our team that might be managing some of our campaigns. So they're creating the ads on different traffic sources, and they're trying to minimize our cost per opt-in while maximizing our revenue per opt-in. Okay, so when I talk about different traffic sources, there's not just one out there, and there's actually a lot of different traffic sources that are specific to email that you guys may or may not have heard of. But when you get to the CPA marketing space, we were just generating leads, and you don't have to get somebody to buy something. The traffic sources that you can tap into profitably with very little optimization, that opens up to you, because if all you have to do is get somebody to enter their zip code for you to make a few dollars, you can run on traffic sources, and how to kind of run the traffic there. You don't need to have to worry about, like, for instance, trying to get somebody to pay $97 for a product. Because the reason I say this is because one thing that you have to consider when you're buying traffic, if you're trying to get somebody to convert at $100, they have to pay $100 for something, you want to be spending at least that amount to see, it's like, okay, well, I have to spend at least, maybe $200 to see if I can get somebody to convert at $100 and so forth and so on. And I don't want to get to all the specifics, but that's how you have to think about it when you're generating traffic. But if you're getting paid $10 here and there for a lead, you don't have to spend a ton of money to see what's going to convert and what's not going to convert. So that gives you an opportunity to basically start generating revenue quickly, be able to scale quicker, and then you can have opportunities to do a lot of other cool things as you start scaling, especially when you're talking about just generating leads for other people. So one of the sites that I like, I call it like a newbie-friendly email site, email monetization site, is optintelligence.com. How many of you guys have heard of this site, optintelligence.com? Few of you? Okay, all right. Not many, okay. So not too many of you guys. Okay. Well, and that's fine. All right, so basically, in a nutshell, OptIntelligence is a co-registration email marketing service. So basically, what they do is they give you the ability to show your ads on very high traffic sites, in this case like the New York Times, and you only pay when somebody gives you their email address, essentially. So you're not paying per click or anything like that. You're not paying per impression like when your ad is shown. You're paying only when somebody gives you their contact details. And the reason that I like OptIntelligence, a lot is because of the fact that you don't need to create a landing page. Not saying that you don't want to eventually create a landing page, because you will want to, but as far as acquiring the email address initially, you just pay for that email address, and as long as you are very specific in your ad, and I'm going to show you a case study, you can basically get a very high quality email address for a set price, and then your job is essentially to follow up with them through email follow-ups to monetize them. So you have essentially a set price per email address. And your job is to basically make sure that you're earning more money than you paid for that email. And again, when I talk about the concept of monetization momentum, it is very I hate to use the word easy, but if you're consistently nailing your list and growing your lead and growing your list, it's relatively easy to simply build that list, follow up with them with relevant content, and generate a significant amount of revenue doing that. So basically, OptIntelligence makes it very easy. In a nutshell, they make it very easy to do that. And there's other sites like OptIntelligence that are out there, but OptIntelligence makes it's very newbie friendly. Is pretty much the best way I can say it. So in a nutshell, people will go to like a NewYorkTimes.com site or other high traffic sites, and they would, in this example, they would register to get a free subscription, free online subscription to the New York Times. Once they enter their information on that page, they're then presented with ads, okay? So in this case, they would see some ads below the registration part. So they didn't specifically opt in to your information, but when they do opt in, they're presented with relevant information. Say, hey, do you want to receive information about this? Since you've already opted in, we can show you some other ads. So essentially, this is what happens. So your ad would kind of show here, in this case, you could, there's no limit to what you can advertise. And let me just go here. Give me one. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. I wanted to just pull up an example. Like this, you could advertise this offer on OptIntelligence. You could advertise this offer. So you could say, hey, get auto loans, simply, look out for an email from us, and I'll show you what an ad would look like, and then also what an email we would send to this type of traffic source. So you guys can get a very clear understanding of exactly how this works. And again, this is just one way to really start your career, I guess, in email monetization. Where you can build a list, really start generating some revenue, and because the quicker that people make money, the more excited they get, the longer they stick with it, and the more success they have. And that's, I'd like to set people up for success. All right. So anyway, there's an ad. Just pretend this is your ad. Let's say you're advertising Overstock.com. When somebody clicks this yes button here, so they would click the yes button here, and they click create my account. In this example, they're creating their account to get New York Times. All right. So in the process of creating their account for the New York Times, they're presented with some ads, and they say, yes, I would like to receive more information about this. And as soon as they click create my account, that email address, this person's information that was entered, up here, gets sent to your email service provider, your email marketing account, and that basically automates it, so you don't have to create a landing page specifically for that. Obviously, if you're building out a monetization pathway, which I talked about, I recommend you creating an opt-in page, and I'll kind of talk about that as well. But as far as generating the lead, you don't necessarily initially need to, but there's a lot that you can do with these leads, and it's very easy because you can just send offers to them that they just have to complete the form where they don't actually have to buy anything. Okay, so here's a case study. This is a CPA offer. This is an offer that pays out $30, and all somebody has to do is complete this form here. Okay. So this is somebody who will be interested in getting business cash. So Opt Intelligence is a good place to advertise a lot of different types of offers. You know, it's not like it's only good for one type of offer. You know, we advertise stuff about auto loans, stuff about insurance, coupons for different products. In this case, business cash. There's no limit. You know, you could advertise and make money online products, affiliate products from ClickBank. You know, you can do anything, and there's a lot of different types of offers that are on there. So there's no limit to it. So that's another great thing about it. So this offer, again, like I said, pays $30. Somebody fills out this form, you make money. Simple. Obviously, somebody who's interested in getting business cash, you know, is probably going to be pretty motivated to fill out this form. So if they've responded to an ad, you send them an email, and they click and go through here, you're going to have a pretty high conversion rate. And that's the reason I say that is that the way that we do things is not how a lot of people do things in the CPA marketing arena. Like a lot of people do kind of like stuff that, you know, most people know about. So when we do things, we have a very high conversion rate. So a lot of these CPA networks, the places that we get offers from, they're like, what are you guys doing? You know, your conversion rates are fantastic. You know, send more traffic. You know, so and then we say, hey, yeah, we're just taking these people through a process, you know, to make sure that we're only getting the best quality leads before they ever see the CPA offer. And ironically, we find that the more steps we take people through, the more money we make. So a lot of people think like, oh, well, if you make people jump through all these hoops, you know, then people are going to fall off, you know, before they actually convert. And yes, people will fall off, but those people probably would have fallen off before they ever converted anyway. So if they weren't going to convert, you know, in the first place, you know, they're probably not going to convert because, you know, you took them through a couple extra steps. What I mean by that is that let's say, again, since we're talking about numbers, let's say that we took 100 people through the site. Like let's just say we just sent them directly here. If we send 100 people here directly, you know, without, you know, generating the lead and kind of going through that, you know, we might get a 3% conversion rate, you know, 3 out of 100 people. So that might be $90. That's not a bad thing if we're getting paid $30 per lead. But if we take those same 100 people, you know, make them respond to an ad through Opt Intelligence, and I'll show you the exact ad that we use for this offer. Then we send them an email to follow up. You know, we might have a 30 or 40% conversion rate, 10 times as much as if we just sent them direct to the offer. So basically, we're making, you know, in this case, 10 times as much money by taking them through a few steps. That's the power of a monetization pathway. All right, that is hands down the power of it. You know, and that's the reason that we do it so much. And the people who do it are so much more successful than people who just send directly to an offer. All right. So when I did this screenshot, this looks a little different than Opt Intelligence does. Opt Intelligence actually recently updated their interface. It actually looks a lot nicer right now, but nonetheless, the stuff is the same. So this is how the platform looks. So these are your ad section here, where there's two types of ads basically. It's a very simple platform. That's another reason I like it. It's not difficult at all for somebody who's new to get in and start making money. It's very simple, you know, and it's scalable. You know, I've like I mentioned last week, you know, I have guys that are, I think I mentioned it last week, that's spending, you know, upwards of $100,000 a month on this site. All right, and you know, so obviously people aren't spending that type of money if it's not working. Okay. And it's very simple. It's not many moving pieces. All right, so I'm just going to go through this ad. So just so you guys can understand, it says need business cash, 98% approval rate, must be in business for at least 6 months and have $10,000 a month in sales. So for this offer here, that was the prerequisite. So they wanted people that had at least you know, certain qualifications. All right, so that's why we put this in the ad. And I'm saying this because this is very important whenever you're doing anything, whenever you're doing any type of promotions. you want to make sure that you are keeping in mind what the person needs to do for you to make money. Now, there's some business offers out there that they will pay you on every lead. It doesn't matter, but they might pay you, instead of getting paid $30 per lead, you might only get paid $10. All right, so everything kind of has a trade-off. But we knew that coming in, so we only made sure that people who were qualified here would respond to the ad. All right. In this case, we kind of added a benefit, get up to $250,000 in 3 days. And this is important. It says, we will email you the short application. Click yes and look for the email subject line, business cash application. So the reason that we did that is we don't want to assume anything. We want to basically set everybody's expectations appropriately, in the sense that, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to click yes, because as I said before, if you look here, that's what they have to do. They have to click the yes link, or the yes button, to basically opt in. Essentially, that's how they opt in, because they've, this is what we call a co-registration platform. All right, so we say that click yes and look for the email subject line, business cash application. And in some cases, we'll say look for the email subject line, whatever it is, from the person or the company. So we will tell. Not only are we going to tell you the subject line, we're going to tell you who it's coming from as well. So we try to leave nothing to chance. So we set everybody's expectations appropriately. Especially because of the nature of how we're generating these leads, and that works extremely well. Okay, so here's just a bigger kind of, so for those of you who may have not been able to see that, this is kind of how the ad looks essentially in the ad server area. Okay, so this is the email that they would receive. Okay, and again, this is like really simple stuff, and people sometimes like to try to overcomplicate it, but we find that the simpler it is, the better it does for the most part. You can get more complex as you start making more money and test more things, but simple works. Simple, we like simple. All right, so it says business cash application. That's the subject line. That's what we told them it was going to be. We say, thanks for your interest. In order to determine your business cash needs, you need to simply click here to complete the short application process. We give it a benefit. It takes less than 2 minutes, and you may qualify to receive up to $250,000 in the next 3 days. Currently there's 98% approval rating for business cash, which in this case for that offer there was. So your chances are very high of qualifying, but we knew that, there was a minimum qualification, And this is an email that we would send, not just for like business to business stuff. This is just a case study here, but for many different types of offers, this type of stuff works, especially when you're talking about lead generation, or when you're generating leads. Okay. So I just want to make sure you guys realize like how simple this stuff is. It's not where you have to like be a super advanced copywriter. Yes, you can have a copywriter write your stuff for you. Not saying that you don't need to, but I'm just saying that you can keep it very simple with that. And as far as the on the email marketing side, obviously there's a lot of different email marketing services or email service providers out there. OptIntelligence is integrated with a lot of them, and there's actually more than this that they have. So we do a lot of business with OptIntelligence. I'm very good friends with their executive team, and it's kind of like a perk of doing a lot of volume with them, where you kind of get to help them optimize your traffic platform. So that's a definite benefit of working with them. So it's like, hey, we're if we have an email service provider that we want to use with them, we can kind of just get them to integrate with that. So basically, there's a lot of scalability with that, and that's just one site. But I just wanted to really talk about that because it's really newbie friendly with regards to getting started and building an email list. Really, you could create a multi-million-dollar business just with OptIntelligence alone. All right, so it's a traffic source that most people have never heard of, even if they're pretty deep in the affiliate marketing space. But it's a traffic source that is very scalable. For a new person who can build a very nice email marketing business from. So I kind of wanted to talk about the bigger picture here because yes, I talked about a specific traffic source, but the bigger picture here is, really, like I said before, is the emails, the email list that you're building here. The way you get the emails, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I'm sure you've learned some very valuable ways here with their Inbox Inner Circle course. But the bigger picture to all this is really openers and clickers. All right, so you want to basically be building a list of engaged people, because the reality is that you might build a list of 100,000 people over the course of, say, 6 months or whatever. There's going to be some people in there who are just not going to open your emails. They may open the first couple, but they may never open again. That's going to happen. You can't be that person who's like, oh no, I didn't. People unsubscribe from my emails, and oh no, everything is falling apart. You can't be like that when you're looking at email marketing. Not everybody's going to open every email. People will unsubscribe. It's part of the process. But you have to understand that there's going to be a certain percentage of people that will open and click your emails regularly. Those are the people that will generate the vast majority of your revenue for your list. So even if it's, say, 15% or 10% of your list, that 10% might generate 80% of all your revenue. So you have to keep that in mind. So you kind of have to look at the bigger picture, because I know a lot of people when they get started, they're like, oh, I had 10 people unsubscribe from my list today, and they're like freaking out and thinking that that it's not going to work, and if they paid 50 cents to get an email address, that oh, I just lost $5 a day, and now and then yet they didn't realize, like, look, they just made $100 from the people who did open and click. So the point is that you have to keep in mind the bigger picture when you do this stuff. Okay, and basically I say that because it's very important, just like the concept of monetization momentum, understanding that all the work that you're putting into gaining that momentum is to get that list of engaged people. Not everybody's going to engage all the time, but you will have a core list, and that list is what will pay for your bills, pay your mortgage, your all the stuff that you want. So and one of my clients, I just wanted to talk about him real quick because he kind of he has a pretty cool story. So his name's Stuart, and I'll just read this here, but I just really want to tell more about his story. He said, with Ricco's training and guidance, I'm now able to generate cash on demand. If I want to buy something, I'm able to make money to pay for it simply by sending a few emails. If that's not the holy grail, I don't know what is. It's like having your own ATM machine. And he said, I mean, zero to $1,000 days in just a few weeks. That's priceless, life-changing stuff. And it's funny with Stuart because he had worked with me a few years ago, was kind of doing some things, and he kind of got sidetracked. He was kind of jumping from course to course, and he made a little bit of money. He's actually making a couple $100 a day, but then he he's just stopped doing what he was doing. He lost momentum, as I was talking about before. Then I had started a Facebook group of my clients, and he saw all the success that people were having, and he's like, oh, well, let me jump back into this. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, wait, all this list I built, now he started again, and and he understood the process. He just stopped implementing it, and so he went from not making any money because he hadn't been mailing to doing it, restarting it, and just $1,000 days. And basically he was like, oh, now I can buy this thing that I want, or and he would say, oh, let me send an email today because I want to go on this trip. So it's real. I mean, you can generate cash on demand. So it was pretty cool when he said that, and I always get excited when guys are actually following my stuff and implementing it. But again, like I said before, it's all about the momentum that you get, the maintaining of it, and then even automating it. Where you're not the one who's always doing the stuff, which is a big part of our business, which I'll kind of talk about in a second. Another guy, he's a good friend. Actually, we've done a lot of other business together. Mark, his name's Mark Fanuff, and we met at a private mastermind a few years ago. When he gave his testimony, this was probably a while ago when he did this, because probably about a year and a half ago or so. But long story short, he was at a mastermind. It was a $25,000 per person mastermind, and I had given a presentation there. I given a case study, and the case study was called my $250,000 a year side project, because essentially me and my business partner Ben were doing a side project that was generating on average about $20,000 a month. It was just email marketing. It was essentially a very simple monetization pathway. We were generating emails to that. People were opting in. They were going through a series of steps, and we were making money. And it started making a lot of money, and we weren't really doing that much with it. So long story short, I presented that case study at that mastermind, and Mark, there was probably about maybe 15 people there, and Mark was one of two people that said, hey, can you show me how to do that? You know, we were all kind of sharing ideas and what we had success with. And he went on to take that and did over $10 million. So it's like you never know who's going to be like super successful, but it was like, okay, this stuff obviously, because again, we were just doing it as a side project. This was probably back in 2011 or so. And at the time I was more heavy on the media buy side, and we were just getting deeper into the email side. But again, it was a $250,000 a year side project. And he kind of took it to the next level. And ironically, and one of the reasons that I like masterminds is kind of people kind of get your mindset to the next level. We were kind of treating it like, hey, this is a cool little project that we're doing. And he said, well, there's a lot of potential of this. So we said, okay, wow, there is, you know. And so that's one of the cool things, like where I have clients and they kind of provide value, I'm providing value to them. But long story short, you know, there are it's a multiple seven-figure scenario with email marketing, just like Anthony mentioned earlier. John Gray, guy, we become really good friends. He was big on the PPC. He did a lot of stuff on Google AdWords and Bing, and we kind of started working with him on the email marketing side. And you know, and he's done a lot more than this since then. And they've gone on to build many different monetization pathways themselves. They've built their own offers that are on CPA networks now, and he's doing a lot of big things. But again, you know, and these are just a few. You know, we have a lot of very successful guys. One thing that I really am big on is results. I'm all about like results. It's like, why would I waste my time teaching things to people or helping people if I don't think they're going to get results, you know, just for the sake of, hey, I'm going to teach you some stuff, and, you know, I know it's probably not going to work, but, you know, at least, you know, I sound like I'm smart. No, I'm not about that. I'm all about getting results. You know, it's like, I call results-oriented instruction, like an ROI on what you're teaching. So again, at the end of the day, you know, when you look at the bigger picture, this is a seven-figure and in reality an eight-figure opportunity. You know, I put seven figures so I didn't want to freak anybody out, but like people have made eight figures, you know, over $10 million with monetization pathways. A lot of what we showed them originally, you know, it's like, you know, this thing works, implement it, and people, you know, took it to, you know, the traffic sources, they optimized it, and they scaled it. It's not a situation where you're like, oh, I can only scale it to a certain level. And like I was mentioning before with these different sites, I mean, auto loans, you know, credit cards, these types of things, these are massive markets, you know, massive markets. Not like, you know, there's only 100,000 people that would be interested in this type of stuff. There's millions of people. So the scalability is huge. It's huge. And that's what we focus on. We focus on the markets that we can scale massively, and you know, we help our clients do the same. So I just want to ask, did you guys get value out of this? You know, I'm sure there's some questions, but I just want to make sure you guys got some value out of this. Anthony, there? Actually, yeah, it looks like I can't see the questions. I don't know, Nick, are you there? If you can make, looks like I can't see actually the questions coming in. I know, I'm sure there's some coming in. Probably need to be the organizer here, because I know there's some questions, but I just want. All right, excellent. Okay, cool. All right, okay, excellent. All right, yeah. So I wanted to make sure you guys got value out of this. You know, basically the reason I asked is because I wanted to present you guys with something that I think will be of value to some of you, maybe not all of you. Some of you guys could probably take what I talked about here and implement it, and that's happened. I've done webinars for free, and people have made a lot of money with it. But there's some of you that I'm sure that want additional, you know, hand-holding, additional, you know, time with me to really kind of dig deeper into this stuff, which is why, you know, I wanted to kind of present you with something that I think is going to be valuable to some of you, not everybody though. But basically, I call it the Monetization Mastery Bootcamp, and it's something that I originally did back in 2010, and it was like it was a huge success basically. It was the essentially just the backstory on it. Back in 2010, well, basically 2007 to about 2010, 2011 or so, I was managing media buys. That's what I was doing, and my job basically was to train the companies. People would pay us money to manage their marketing campaigns, and our job was to manage them to the point where they would get profitable, and then we would train their staff or the person, if it was just an entrepreneur, how to maintain that campaign or those campaigns that they're running. So I got really good at training the people effectively enough where they could actually take over the campaign and continue to make it work, because a lot of times what happens is when you do this stuff day in and day out, sometimes it becomes difficult to actually train people on how to do it, because you're like, I'm in it, I'm doing it, and then somebody asks you a question and you're like, I'm talking at a high level where, I'm doing calculus and somebody asks me how to, add 2 plus 2, and that becomes difficult for some people who are doing it to teach. But apparently I have a gift of being able to do both, because I kind of got thrown out there in the sense that they said, hey, why don't you actually create a course around this, because I think it can help out a lot of people, which I did, and that course was the Monetization Mastery Bootcamp, and we basically, it's a continual course in progress, not like a one thing, because obviously the stuff in 2010 to 2015 is much different, as far as like the softwares that are available, the strategies that are available that weren't available then. So all those things, are in the boot camp, and I want to talk about kind of the bigger picture with that. All right, so I'm seeing a few questions here now that I can see the questions, but I'll definitely get to those. But in a nutshell, this boot camp is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm really passionate about people getting results. Like, that's what I'm known for. If obviously a lot of you guys don't know who I am or whatnot, but I am known for getting results. I'm very sincere when I work with people. I don't work with a ton of people at one time, and I am very focused on whoever I'm working with, that they get the results that they sought out for. It's like, as long as they're implementing it, as long as they're taking action, I am in their corner to make sure that they're getting results. But at the end of the day, what this really is, what the boot camp is, it really shows you, and teaches you how to build a real and sustainable online business that creates real wealth while being run almost on complete autopilot, which results in true lifestyle freedom, which many people talk about as the internet marketing lifestyle, where you could be anywhere in the world and you're generating revenue, and you have a system in place where you are actually generating revenue without you having to always be in the business. So there's a point that you get in your business where you're like, okay, I know how this works. I know, like what we do at the level we're at, I am confident in our ability to make money. That's beside the point. That's not even an issue for us. It's how can I make money without me having to without me having to invest more time. So that's where, a lot of people have challenges in scaling, and that's where I found, as we work with clients who are scaling from, $1,000 a day to $5,000 a day to $10,000 a day, the challenge becomes in how to set up the systems so that you don't have to, work 10 times as much to make 10 times as much money, So, we've really gotten good at that. So that's what I talk about in the boot camp, essentially. All right, so basically, here's what you get, in a nutshell. It's results-oriented instruction. That's what I talk about. It's ROI. I'm all about ROI. Like I said, I have a corporate finance background. It's like all that matters is the bottom line when you're in corporate finance. That's all they care about. There's no nice oh, he's a nice guy and all that. It's like, what have you done for me? How much have you generated for the company? All right. So I take that approach with the boot camp. It's all about results-based instruction, not theory, not, well, this may work, it's all about do this, do that, do this in a series of steps for the purpose of getting results. All right. It's a 60-day self-paced curriculum. It's 60 days where we have it spread out, but the content is ongoing. Like online, everything's always, it's dynamic. Like I said earlier, the concept, for instance, of retargeting, there was no such thing as retargeting in the affiliate marketing space 5 years ago, or at least to the level that it was today. So there's always new things that you can add to your arsenal with email marketing. That are always in there, and it's step-by-step training from A to Z, literally like A to Z. I don't leave anything out, because if I did, and that thing is that what you need to make money, then it wouldn't be doing you any service. So essentially, it's really all the way through. Again, like I said before, I work with clients who are scaling, 7-figure-a-year businesses, and you don't get to that point by not making sure that they have everything they need to do that. So one of the guys, he kind of, Eric, he had taken a lot of different courses, and he basically was kind enough to kind of give me a testimonial. Essentially, he said, I've invested in a lot of different training programs over the years, and there was always something missing. They would tell you what to do, but not how to do it. And Ricco goes into how to do what he teaches from A all the way to the finish line. And I mean, that's what I do. For me, that's like, why wouldn't I? But a lot of times when people kind of give you their feedback, they say things like that, and it's like, oh okay, to me, it's like, it would be common sense. Why wouldn't I do that? If I want people to get results. But apparently, that a lot of people don't do that. So basically, what I want to do is kind of go through what you get. Basically, we've broken up into 8 sessions. So basically, Session 1 is the foundation, okay? So it's all about, you have to have a foundation. What I find, a lot of people, they kind of jump from course to course, and they're, like for instance, I was talking about CPA marketing in this training, So like, oh, I need to do CPA marketing now, and they start doing all that, but they have no idea, like, well, what am I going to promote? How am I going to do all this? They kind of just jumping from one thing to another, and they haven't really established their objectives. They haven't solidified their goals, and you guys may have heard of this a lot, but the foundation is important. Like, mindset is crucial. It's so crucial. I mean, I've taught the exact same thing to 2 separate people, and somebody will make a ton of money with it, and another person will kind of give every reason in the book why they couldn't do the next step, why they couldn't do this, or why they had issues, and it's like, and it's interesting. To me, it's very interesting. I don't look at it like, I don't take offense to it or anything, but I just find it interesting, and maybe because I'm very confident in what I teach, and I have a lot of success stories, to kind of back that up. But I find that, I'm always like, why is somebody not successful versus somebody is? I'm like really interested in that, because I'm taking my time and my resources to really teach people, and just since I'm talking about this, I don't just teach people just like, oh, pay me money, I'll teach you. I actually teach people, and some of them I hire into my company. So I do have like some back-end ulterior motives as well, because we do create a curriculum for our company. So this stuff that I teach in these camps or these trainings is stuff that I teach my staff. So it all kind of comes full circle. But anyway, it's all about the foundation, knowing what you want, knowing what you're going to commit to. Yeah, can you? Yep.
Yeah, I just want to say, one of the things I found very interesting, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so one of the things I found very interesting when I first met Ricco was he always called his students that they were in like your apprentice program. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that basically you look at your students as part of your organization, if you will, like you're grooming them to work with you on an ongoing basis. And I just thought that's something I just wanted to point out as you were saying that, because it just kind of brought that up to my, to my memory there when I first met you, and you said, yeah, we've got this apprentice and that apprentice. And I think oftentimes people are so used to, they just buy a course and they go through the video trainings, and we try to make our program, like Inbox Inner Circle, we try to differentiate it from everything else by having these live trainings and killer support and all that stuff. But for you, yours is a little more hands-on, and I think that's something that's interesting, and obviously something I just wanted to point out real fast.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, and I mean that's worked out well, and I'm and the kind of the way that I kind of came to this space, I was working very closely with clients. So when I kind of started being in situations where I was talking to more people and kind of providing more value to more people, I was like, I still want to keep that connection, because I feel that was a big part of the success that I've been able to have, to really make sure that people feel that I'm genuinely invested in their success and not just saying, hey, just buy my course and take the and good luck. But definitely thanks for pointing that out. So I just want to go quickly here through the second session. Basically, so first section is foundation. It's all about foundation and really getting clear on what you want to do, and I help you kind of go through that. So you kind of understand like what is possible and what's realistic and all that stuff. The next part is pathway setup. Basically, getting it's not like we're going to be spending a lot of time on theory at all. It's really like, okay, get your mind right. Let's get to work type of thing. All right, it's a boot camp. All right, pathway setup is how to create a strategic monetization pathway. Basically that spits out revenue right away. So it's like, okay, let's set up your pathway again. Your funnel, and these funnels are really simple as you saw in the example. And let's get you making money right away. With the offers that you need, with the connections that you need, and all that. So we just get right into it. All right. So it's not like you need months of training or weeks of training to start making money. You can start that within the second week of getting started and getting the campaign set up. And then in session 3, we talk about back-end monetization. I haven't really talked about back-end monetization here, so I'll just kind of define that. Back-end is like what happens after you get the email address. That's really all that means. It's the front end is you advertising to that person and getting them into your funnel, into your email marketing account, and the back end is what you do with them after that point. So I'll be talking about how to create the back-end marketing for maximum profits. And if you weren't aware, the real money is made on the back end. Like I was talking about in the chart monetization momentum, where in the beginning you might be kind of chugging along, but then as you continue to move forward, you get this momentum effect, which is essentially because of the back end that you're doing, and that's where your profits the majority of your profits will be. So I'm going to show you how to leverage that powerful asset, because that is an asset. And if you look at this, like I said before, as an investment, not like, oh, I'm spending money on leads, it's an investment into leads that will potentially be generating you money for many years, then it's much easier to scale, much easier to operate, because it's a business. And when you look at it like that, you will have a much better chance of large success, high rates of success. Session 4, we're going to get more into campaign management, learn, to track where you're making the most money and how to split test like a pro. But I just want to say that, a lot of this stuff we'll be talking about in the first few sessions, but we'll just kind of really be digging deeper into it, within these sessions, because really within the first 2 to 3 weeks, you should be in the process of generating revenue. All right. So it's not a situation where, some people are saying like, oh, well, do I have to go through the entire 8-week course before I make any money? No, like, I did a version of this course back in October, and people were making money like really quickly. Obviously I'm not going to guarantee how quickly anybody makes money, but from actual real results, people who implemented were generating revenue. So that was not the issue. People made money. That wasn't. It was really how much they want to scale. So when people understand they can make money, then it's like, how can I scale this thing? And that's really where people kind of get excited. It's a different conversation. It's not like I didn't make money. It's like, how can I make more money? And those are the conversations I like to have. That's why I kind of structure the training that I do in that way. So yeah, we'll be talking deeper about campaign management, learn to track where you're making the most money, how to split test, and things like that. And then we'll talk about in the session 5, campaign optimization. How are you going to optimize your campaigns even more than they have been to that point? And how to maximize your profitability and learn where to focus to increase your profit margins. And then in session 6, we're going to get into a topic that I like to talk about that really kind of helped us, scale. Is automation or outsourcing, where basically you're getting somebody else to do parts of different tasks of your monetization business, essentially. So you can focus on higher level revenue generating activities. This was a game changer for me years ago because I was so used to being in the everything day in and day out. But making $10,000, $20,000 a month doing that, yeah, you could do that. But if you're trying to get to 6 figures a month, you need to not saying that you have to have a team. You can have like maybe one other person or somebody doing something to save you some time, so you can at least enjoy the fruits of your labor. But when you get to that point, you realize like, okay, wow, I can really start to live this internet marketing lifestyle as people talk about, where you're actually generating money, and maybe all you're doing is looking at the stats. So it's not like you're in there actually sending emails all day. You have an automation in process, not just through autoresponders, but softwares and people, and you can focus on maybe getting bigger deals, or having conversations with somebody like me or Anthony on a more personal basis while you're still making money. So those things are very important in scaling, because you don't just go from $100 a day to $10,000 a day overnight. There's a process, and we've taken enough people through the process that we know all those little steps that need to be accomplished before getting to those higher numbers, they're pretty much necessary. There's no like really shortcuts to them, but we kind of take you through that process. So again, like A to Z, we're not skipping things. We're taking you through the process while you're generating revenue the entire time. And then session 7, we'll really talk about scaling massively, how to take those campaigns and scale them massively. And at that point, basically session 8, it's a concept that I call aggressive diversification. And with email marketing, or just with marketing in general, there's different levels. You might be at a certain level where you're like, oh, I'm fantastic. You might think you're king of the world because you're doing $1,000 a day, but then you meet somebody who's doing, $1 million a month. Like there's levels to this stuff. And as you start to kind of get deeper into what this is, monetization, or if you're doing affiliate marketing or whatnot, you see that there's lots more potential to grow in lots of different avenues. And I'm going to talk about how to sustainably scale, and what I mean by that is how you can scale something without it all falling apart. So we'll kind of get into that there, because ideally, by the time we're at this session 8, there's going to be some of you who are basically getting to that point where like, okay, I want to scale this. How can I do this so I don't, if I have to step out of my business, now everything's going to fall apart. So that's an important thing that I feel that needs to be discussed, kind of around that time. So at the end of the day, pretty much, this is what you get. You get access to a private online members area. We have weekly group Q&A calls, and basically you get access to what I call my $20 million Rolodex. All right, so one of the things that people probably don't talk about a lot, it's like, you could be successful online, but if you want to like really have a really high quality level of success, it's really all about who you know. It's about your networking abilities, or and one of the things that I bring to the table with a lot of my clients is I refer them to the people that we have made a lot of money with. So so it's like, contact this network, contact this person at this network. We're doing a ton of money through them. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And contact this person if you need this service. Contact this person. Tell them I referred you, because they'll take care of you. It's not just about like, oh, I'll get an affiliate commission. It's deeper than that. It's like, this is somebody that I trust and I know will take care of people to help you make more money. So I call my $20 million Rolodex. So you get access to that, and then you get access to our support team. One of the things with this boot camp is that it's a boot camp. Like we will be following up with you. Like, did you do this step? Did you do? It's not going to be like where we just kind of wait for people to tell us how they're doing. We're like obviously it's virtual, but like we're in your face. Like, did you do this? Did you do that? That's how we've operated the boot camps in the past. And that works really well because we hold people accountable, so it's not a situation where you're just looking at some videos and then, you have to kind of figure out when you're going to do something. It's like, we will hold you accountable to make sure that you're actually implementing, and that, for one, because if people are going to, invest in any training that I'm doing or invest in me, I want to make sure that they're getting the results that they came for. And one of the ways that we've kind of ensured that people get really good results is by holding them accountable. All right. So Anthony, I don't know if you said you wanted to bring something up kind of about your results. Anthony, there? I don't know if we lost Anthony or not.
Sorry about that. No, can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry, my my mic was on mute because I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, here's one thing I would say to all of you. You know, we actually, like I said, we've taken Ricco's course, this exact course, and I'll tell you the biggest, for me anyway, the biggest advantage was the knowledge that something exists. And what I mean by that is this: our Inbox Inner Circle course, it really revolves solely around mailing and emailing other internet marketing offers, offers from GVO. I know a lot of you are GVO members, and they have, Pure Leverage. They have some great products that you can promote, and we all make a lot of money doing that. So it's great. That's the world I've been in for a decade. And then I met Ricco, and I learned this whole CPA mailing thing. And I still don't feel we've done really well. I'll say this: I have people in my office right now who are too shy to get on here. I tried to get them to get on; they won't do it. They're not. I mean, they're like event coordinators and like merchant relations for our merchant processing and stuff. Like, that's their titles. That's what they do. One of them is my my video guy. He does all my videos. So every video that you guys see from me, he's the one that does it. So he's not an internet guy. He's a video guy. I hired him right out of the Apple Store. My event coordinator, I hired. Honestly, he was the head of the wholesale department at a cell phone store, and I hired him to manage and plan all of our events. These are people that had regular jobs, and I brought them into our organization, but I did not bring them in as internet marketers. I brought them in for specific positions. And I went to those people and I said, I want to see if Ricco and or his students can teach you how to send profitable emails. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see if this worked, not for me because I figured I could get it, but I wanted to know if they could get it. And I got a text message from one at 8:21 tonight, and it says, boom, hit 1,500 again. That was one of them that said, boom, he hit $1,500 today in revenue. Again, he's now up to $1,500 a day in revenue. I don't know. I don't think I can actually show it on here. I've never really tried to do that because it's on my cell phone I'm looking at. But anyway, point is, this is a guy that doesn't do anything on the internet, that's now sending emails, that's crushing it, and his expectations now are $1,500 a day. Two or three of the other ones in my office are more like $200 to $300 a day, but they're not taking it as seriously. They're kind of like Ricco said, it's all about actually doing what you're taught, and so they do it, but they're just not. They don't have the entrepreneurial mindset, so they would rather go shopping or something after work instead of sitting down and focusing on their on this emailing. So anyway, point is, we were taught by by Ricco's students, and collectively our group has done over $100,000 this month. That group. Now that's not me. That's other people. That's not me sitting in the office with them. Like I said, I'm traveling today, so they sent their emails today. I'm not even in the same state with them, and they've absolutely crushed it. And that's the reason why I was willing to let Ricco offer his training on this particular type of email marketing to you guys. I don't feel like I am qualified. Well, here's the thing. I am not as qualified to teach you CPA marketing as he is. He's been doing it for a long time. We've been doing it for 6 to 8 months. We'll do $1 million this year. I've got guys in my office that are, like I said, expecting $1,500. Like they expect to do $1,500 a day now, and they've only been doing this, I don't know, 5 months. And so it's to me, there's a ton of opportunity here. Is it cheap? No. I think Ricco, you and I had a talk. The first contract you sent me was I think it was $15,000, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The first contract that we did was $15,000. Now, how many of you would gladly? Now, by the way, I'm not letting Ricco sell you anything for $15,000. So let's just get that straight right now. But how many of you would sign a $15,000 contract and be excited if you ended up with the results that I've ended up with, where, you know, I'm expecting to do $1 million, you know, based on the daily revenue right now. Now, did I know that that's what I would do when Ricco sent me the $15,000 contract? No. Could I have just said, hey, Ricco, you know, why are you going to charge me $15,000? Don't charge me anything. Yes. But if you don't put in the time, you don't put in the energy, and you don't put in the effort, you'll never get anything out of it. If I don't invest money into something, I get too busy with my life. I've got many businesses to run, obviously, and they don't revolve around CPA email marketing. So let's just put it that way. It was brand new, starting over from scratch for me, just like it will be for you. And so I had to make a decision to invest money into my knowledge so that I could focus and feel like it was important enough for me to focus on it every day, as if it were a very important part of my business, which is what I was doing, you know, for everything else. And so because I've had the results I have personally had, and because not only have I had results, you all know that I'm better qualified to do this than you. If you don't think I'm better qualified to do this than you, then you are in a dream world, because I've been sending emails longer than you guys have probably even been on the internet. So that's just being real, right? Like, most people get on here and say, well, if I can do it, you can do it, blah, 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 and they try to sell you. Well, that's not the case. If I can do it, that doesn't mean that really it means nothing to you, because we're on totally different levels. But when I had Ricco's team train my staff members who had never sent an email in their lives, other than, you know, personal emails. One of them still has an AOL email address. Think about that. I mean, that's crazy. And I see them making money. Then I realize, okay, this is something I can get behind. This is something I can endorse. This is something I can recommend. This is something I want to introduce to my students, because I want them to have the same opportunity and the same ability to be able to be successful like I am and like my staff is. So I thought about it. I thought, well, why don't I just teach this? Why don't I create a course? Why don't I sell a course? And why don't I teach it? I mean, after all, that's what I do with everything. I learn it. I master it. I teach people. I find the best method to teach and reach my students, and then I go in and I create a course about it, and I sell it. And then I stand behind it, and I do exactly what we've been doing. I teach it, I follow up, I answer support tickets, I do all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to be a realist. If you want to be in business and you want to be successful, and if you care about your students like I care about mine, you have to be a realist. Who is better qualified to teach you this method, me or him? And at the end of the day, simply, it's him. I am very well qualified to teach you email marketing, to teach you how to get in the inbox, to teach you the best strategies for follow-up sequences, to teach all of that stuff. But when it comes down to like legitimate, just focusing on this lead generation, these insurance offers and things like he's shown you, he is the best person that I know of anywhere to teach you how to do this, period. And so that's why I felt like it was okay for me to bring him on and let him offer his course and his training that you can do simultaneously with mine. Now, I'll tell you right now, his course and his training is more expensive than mine. But at the end of the day, it's also not just some videos. It's not just some videos and a couple webinars. I mean, it's like an entire boot camp. If I were to sell an email marketing boot camp, it wouldn't be $67, $77, whatever dollars, right? Inbox Inner Circle was all about learning email marketing, having a jump start with your leads, and then having a medium and an opportunity to get in there and get engaged and really use our tools, our resources, and our training to your benefit. What his course is about is taking everything that you've learned with Inbox Inner Circle and applying it to the CPA world. So does everybody understand that this is like chocolate and vanilla, right? They're both ice cream. They're both good. At least some of us feel that way, right? They're both good. You can eat them both together, right? But they're still two different things. Do we all understand this? Say yes if you do. All right. One is not better than the other. You're not in trouble if you can't do what Ricco's got for you to do now and all this stuff. You're still great with Inbox Inner Circle, but for those of you that have the opportunity and want to move forward and want to work with Ricco and myself, I've wanted to give you that opportunity because I felt like it was warranted. I felt like my staff can do it, I can do it, I've seen the results, I've met his students, I've met some guys that are doing $250,000 a month in revenue, and they're paying Ricco $10,000 a month for consulting, literally to get on the phone and ask him a couple of questions. And I asked him, I said, why do you keep paying him $10,000 a month for consulting? You're making $250,000 a month. Why do you keep doing that? What is the motivation? And their exact words were literally, if we can pick up 2 or 3 things from Ricco in a month that change our revenue, it literally could be the difference in us making $250,000 and $280,000 a month. So the $10,000 a month that Ricco charges is well worth it. And so it's a different take on things. Now, I obviously told Ricco when he came on here, listen, these are my students. I only offer things, you haven't seen me come on here with a bunch of different softwares and everybody's click button, push button, millionaire thing that they could sell you on our webinars. We focus mainly on training. There are opportunities if you want to do certain things to be able to do them, but how many of you feel like you've gotten a lot of value from the 2 weeks of Ricco's training so far? Just say yes. How many of you feel like it was worth your time, regardless of if you take Ricco's class or not? It was worth your time to be here. You're excited about it. You'll show up next week. Obviously, next week is a training with me. There's nothing for sale. But at the end of the day, you'll show up because you're getting value and you're enjoying your nights, your Thursday night trainings with us. Okay? All right, I'm seeing hundreds of yeses, so I feel good. Now, Ricco will make you an offer to be able to join his course and his training that you can take simultaneously with mine. I told him we are not going to be doing $15,000 and $20,000 trainings, which I watched him sell live from a stage to a room full of people in D.C., and I watched literally Ricco. I recall one person actually threw their wallet on stage. True story, yes or no?
That is a true story, absolutely.
It's a true story. Anyway, insanity. But at the end of the day, I asked him to make a special deal for this class that's still more expensive, okay? It's not cheap, but then, like he said, you get access to his $20 million Rolodex, and I can tell you right now, having access to that, which is some of his students that have made a ton of money, is worth more than he's charging for the training and stuff anyway. But at the end of the day, this course is great. It is affordable, but it is obviously more expensive than an online video course. So just understand what you're getting and the time and energy that's going into the boot camp. When you go through this, and then also, it's very important. Make sure that you are dedicated to actually doing it, right? That's the real thing. How many of you right now can make a promise to yourself, not to me, not to him, but to yourself, that you're going to do whatever it takes to be successful with email marketing? How many of you are going to can make that promise to yourself? Regardless, it doesn't matter what happens in life. It doesn't matter what's going on with work. It doesn't matter what's going on with your family. It doesn't matter how you feel about your relationship with your wife or your husband or your kids or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever it is. You literally make a commitment right now to just flat out be successful, period. No BS, no excuses. All right, I see all of you saying that. So you keep that in mind, regardless of if you work with Ricco or not, whatever. Don't give up on your success, and I can promise you that I am not going to give up on teaching, on putting out quality products and introducing you to quality people, not good salespeople. No offense to you, Ricco, but he's not the best salesperson, right? This webinar could have been full of a lot of stuff that you would have got flashy signs and buttons and money signs and dollars and testimonials, and guess what? All of you would be salivating and you'd be willing to pay anything to get it, and boom, you'd all buy, right? That's the kind of people I could. How many of you have been on webinars like that before? Just say yes. Where it's just so great, it's all so wonderful, bunch of sales stuff. Yeah, tons of you. They're great salespeople, and what's crazy is you buy, and there will be some of you tonight that do not enroll in his course that would have bought some of that other crap. But that's what we're willing to do. We're willing to forego that, because at the end of the day, my goal is to make you successful. And I make you successful in a few different ways. Number one, by providing you the best quality content and training that I possibly can provide. Number two, by providing you these live trainings and good support. And number three, by introducing you to people in my inner circle, people that I'm working with, people that are helping me to be more successful. And I feel like if they can help me be more successful, I know for a fact they can help you be more successful. And Ricco is one of those people, and that's why I brought him on to give you an opportunity to join, and let him teach you really what he's been teaching me and my staff now for the last few months. So that's just my take, my personal experience with it. It's rare. In fact, I've never been able to get on a webinar, offer someone else's course, and then also say, oh, by the way, I'm a testimonial of this. That situation has never happened, so it's a very unique opportunity for me to be able to just give you my my take on the course and the training and the stuff that's available. So with that said, Ricco, I'll let you take back over. But how many of you can appreciate my story, my personal success story, and how many of you are glad that I shared it with you? Because obviously it is very rare. I see some of you saying that. It's super rare. It's just almost non-existent that I can come on here and be a testimonial for somebody, and if I can, then I feel like it's my responsibility to share that person, that knowledge, and that ability with you, because if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be treating you like true business partners, like true people in my inner circle, because I introduce a lot of people that I work with to Ricco, and some of them now pay him to work with him. And so if I don't do that for you, then I'm not really keeping my promise. So with that said, Ricco, I'll let you take back over it and let everybody check out the offer that you have for them and all that good stuff.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so yeah, just like Anthony said, I'm all about results, and and like I said, it's always a good thing when I teach people and they can teach other people, and have results, just because of the level of intimacy that I work with each and every one of my clients. So yeah, like I was saying before, this is what you get, the private online members area, the weekly group calls, my $20 million Rolodex, and my support team, and I'm not selling this, for $15,000 or anything like that, but just so the real world value of people pay me $25,000 for private coaching and consulting. That is not a made up number. There are many people that have done that over the years, so that's a real world value of the level of as far as getting access to my support team and my contacts and that kind of that intimate type of interaction. But basically, obviously, I'm not going to charge that, like Anthony said. But in addition to the boot camp, you're actually also going to get access to another bonus. I did a case study workshop, like an in-depth case study, as in I show everything, all the way from our video, this is how much money we made today, this is what we did. It was called the 1,000 leads per day case study workshop. It was a unique way to generate up to 1,000 leads per day, and I actually showed us starting from scratch all the way up to generating 1,000 leads per day. In video, I should even show how we outsourced 95% of it, or actually I made a video for our staff one of our outsourcing team who we pay a few $100s a month, and they did most of the work. So that's a pretty cool video. That was actually a $5,000 course I did, and it was real, like it was actually real time where people saw something start and then make $5,000. I'm sorry, get 1,000 leads a day, and it was a $5,000 course. So so you get access to that. And then you also get access to the first 3 sessions of a course that I did that's still going on, where I've had a lot of success, called the Data Arbitrage Masterclass. It's basically, it really ties hand in hand with the boot camp, but you know, I'm only giving the first 3 sessions, and the reason why, you know, people paid $7,500 for that product. But nonetheless, you know, the first 3 sessions, you know, are really, you know, kind of solidify exactly what you need. Again, like I'm all about results, so it's not like you need a bunch of content just for the sake of it. I'm all about implementation. A part of the boot camp is we are following up with you. You know, my team will be holding you accountable to make sure that you're actually taking action. So you almost feel guilty that you're not. And in that process, you actually, you know, potentially be much more successful, much quicker. And which is the benefit, which is the main thing that I focus on, is making sure that people who are investing in any of my trainings are doing it for the purposes of being successful, and not just to learn some new or cool stuff, but actually implement it. So again, that course was actually $7,500, but you know, for the first 3 sessions, you know, just kind of $2,500 for that. So these are like real numbers where people actually invested. So I'm not just kind of throwing out random numbers here. But I just want to make sure that you understand the real value that's going into this, and the stuff, you know, people who are investing in different trainings, you know, they're getting returns on that investment. You know, otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be able to continue to do this if it wasn't working. You know, for many years now that we've been doing this type of coaching and consulting. So again, excuse me, here's what you get: step-by-step A to Z training sessions. You know, again, like I said, we go all the way through everything. We leave nothing out. We do weekly group Q&A calls, so you have an opportunity to talk with us. You get access to the support team, my $20 million Rolodex. So there's never going to be a situation where you won't have somebody to communicate to. All right, I'm huge on support. One of the things that I'm known for and for people who work for me, is my support. I bend over backwards to make sure that I'm responsive. It's not a game with me. I do not play. I like that. I have a really good reputation on that, and support is a huge thing for me. So that's one thing you can be confident in. I make sure that anybody who's invested with me has the support that they need. And then also you get access to the bonuses, the case study workshop, the 1,000 lead per day case study workshop, and the data arbitrage masterclass. So if you were to add all that up, you know, that'd be $32,500.
Hey, Ricco?
Yeah.
Just want to ask you a quick question, because I want to point out something to these guys. You know, and obviously, first of all, I would never let Ricco come on here and tell you something was sold for one price if it wasn't sold for it. I actually saw him sell that other product for $7,500. I actually watched people buy it. So it is legit. He does not just add up a bunch of stuff like most people do. That's silly. But this is, you know, real world stuff. But wanted you to touch on one thing for me real fast. You had mentioned to me on the phone the other day when we were talking about this, about the, you know, about kind of like the automation, but also like the level of support, which you know, all of these, everybody on this webinar right now knows that I get in my support desk and answer support questions myself. I don't get everybody's, obviously. I may have a support staff, but I answer support questions. I'm not, you know, I'm not above doing that. You had mentioned to me the other day, obviously you have a staff, and something about like throughout the course, in some parts of the course, there's like a page setup process, and there might be some things that they actually need to do that your staff does for them.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, part of the process is we give you access to one of our staff to help you set up like an opt-in page or certain pages for you. So that's one of the support pieces that we talk about, and I actually talk about that in the first session, where kind of like in the Rolodex thing, like you get access to people who will do the things that you need them to do to an extent, and then it's okay, well now if you want somebody to kind of take it to the next level, we'll give you access to the people who do that for us. So yeah, exactly.
So your staff actually, as they're going through this boot camp, okay, which by the way, everybody, it's online. You don't have to be there in person. I've seen some questions like that. But you have staff members that actually will do some of the steps for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's.
I want to be clear on that, because if that's the case, that I think everybody can can say, or can agree with me here, that I mean, we don't even offer that. But then again, I mean, you know, obviously our courses are not that expensive, but I mean, you actually have, it's not like having your own virtual assistant. It's like, because that would be someone that could just do tedious tasks. These are people that are trained in, you know, Ricco's team to do what Ricco does. They do it for Ricco, right? And what he's doing is he's giving you access to those people to do things like build your landing pages and set this up and set that up. So all of those things that normally you get stuck on because you watch it in a video, you see it, and you say, gosh, and you just go try to implement it and you just can't do it. He has a staff in place that will actually do that stuff for you. How many of you feel like that's just next level stuff? And this is one of the reasons I wanted to be sure, Ricco, that's, you know, before we do this, and no, they don't take over your computer screen and stuff. They actually go and do the things for you and then shoot it back over to you, almost in some sense of the word, you know, as if they like work for you, but they don't, and you're not having to pay them. They work for and with Ricco to help the students in his Monetization Mastery Bootcamp get through the process. And so if Ricco's at, you know, like I said, session 1, and it says build a landing page or an opt-in page that looks like this and does this and says that, if you don't do it by the time session 2 comes around, well, then you're left behind. And if you're left behind, his success rate sucks. And if his success rate sucks, then, I mean, let's just face it, his course sucks. That's just the way it is. So he can't afford that. So he has this staff that's able to help you along the way and actually do some of the stuff for you. That's the part that I thought was phenomenal, because that's something that I've never seen anyone else do. And that, Ricco, I just wanted to touch on that so that people understand the true value of what they're getting. Because your course, how long is it? Like how long does it take to complete?
It's an 8-week course, but most of the stuff that you need for like making money is covered within the first 2-3 weeks, basically.
Okay, so it's an 8-week course, and throughout those 8 weeks, they, for the lack of better terminology, have access to, in a sense, almost employees that will do things for them, right? Not
yeah, exactly.
Everything, but certain things that you need done, they can have done for them, right?
Yes, and we will be following up with you personally. It's not like to make sure that you're doing the other things that we won't be doing for you, which is a huge value for a lot of people who need that extra motivation throughout the course. Gotcha.
So if you think about that, just as you're going through this and you're adding up the value in your head, okay, what am I actually getting? Is something Ricco doesn't even touch on, because, like I said, he's not that good at selling. Sorry, Ricco.
No offense. Yeah.
Is that he doesn't even explain to you, you're getting, like I said, almost like a virtual employee, like an employee to do things for you for 2 months that we all know would be very expensive. That's not a cheap thing to have. That alone would cost you more than this course is going to cost you altogether, even without the value of the knowledge, the training, and all of that stuff. So anyway, Ricco's great at what Ricco does. He's great at teaching and stuff like that. And by the way, I think Dave Grant, you said get on with it already. Sir, there's a red button right up here at the top of GoToWebinar, man. If you're not interested in being on here, just click it and hop off. We're doing our best to provide value, talk to everybody, teach everybody, and explain transparently exactly what you get, because I don't want you to buy something that is not mine and end up unhappy with it. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you don't miss the opportunity because you don't know everything that it entails. So, you know, if you're, it's not David Grant, it's Dave Grant. But yeah, I mean, if you're not interested in being here, hop off. We don't speed up for anybody, my friend. We don't like to leave people behind. All right, so go ahead, Ricco. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that part.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you pointing that out. Yeah, because I didn't clarify that. But yeah, like Anthony was saying, yeah, it's really hands-on. I mean, I pride myself on the support and the success rate that I have. I want to maintain my success rate, and so we bend over backwards to make sure, by giving you access to our team. But yeah, like if you add everything up, it would be $32,000. Obviously, we're not gonna. You're not going to have to pay that amount for this course. Anthony talked about, we thought, what would be fair where we could make sure we're giving the value to you guys, and then also it makes sense for our time to make sure that, we're putting all of our resources in place so that you guys have everything you need to be successful. So basically we came up and decided that, to get all the bonuses, the boot camp, for $1,995. And basically, if that makes sense to you, you can just go to promonetize.com/go. Now, obviously, it's not for everybody, but for the people who understand the value of that, as far as from an investment standpoint, in the services that we'll be providing, including our contacts, our access, our support team, that is much less than we would charge. Like Anthony said, the last thing I did was $7,500. That was low for us. I was like, that was a kind of like I was dropping my prices on that stuff. So I mean, in this case, we're going to make sure that we're providing, the value that you need, the information that you need, and we're going to be holding you accountable by actually following up with you on a weekly basis to make sure that you're implementing each step. And if you have problems, if you have issues, that's what we're here for. That's, because you're going to run into issues. You're going to run into obstacles depending on your experience, and that's where we come into play. That's where our value is. That's what I tell people. It's like, if everything's working out perfectly all the way through, then that's great. But most people are going to run into, it could be something that might take 10 minutes, but if you don't have somebody to bounce that off of, it could take you 2 weeks. So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you really invest in a boot camp like this. If you haven't been a part of something like this before, because we've offered this several times in the past, and it's very hands-on. A lot of the people that we end up working with become lifelong friends, so that it's a very intimate experience that we have with this type of training that we do, and it's we have a very high rate of success, and I definitely am proud of that, and I want to maintain that level of success.
Yeah, Ricco, just looking on here, Alan said this is a great price. Thank you much. Looks like Kobe wants to know if it will teach him everything they need to know. I can tell you better than he can because we came into this not knowing anything, and it certainly has done wonders for us. I don't think there's anything left out of this course that you need to know in order to be successful with it. Moses wants to know what the success rate is. I don't know what the exact success rate is. I know for my students, the success rate was 100%. We did not have a single person that did not make money doing it. Now, we had 2 people that quit, that just quit doing it. It is what it is. But they made money before they quit, so I can't explain it. Some people just aren't, like I said, some people aren't cut out for this. It's just isn't, but they're also not on webinars for 2 hours learning either. They were just working in the office. So anyway, our staff was 100% success rate learning this exact stuff. So that's where I can. That's what we see. Let's see. I'm just looking through here. And I see a lot of you saying great value. Ricco, here's a good question. Does the $19.95 cover 2 people, like a husband and wife, father and son type situation?
Yeah, that's fair. We've done that before. Yeah, if you're like, yeah, exactly. That's fine. The only thing that we ask if you're going to be joining with somebody else, that if you are, emailing support or contacting me directly, that you guys both know what the, like if you copy that other person, because what happens sometimes is when people do that, I get like the same question from like the husband or the wife, and they don't realize that I've answered them both times. So as long as you guys are, kind of on the same front, that's perfectly fine. We're more than happy to accommodate.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through here. All right. Let's see. Some people want to know how long the offer is available. Now I know you close your courses down, and then there's like 10 people that are asking me about the $250. We'll give it away in about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes max. I want to get all the questions about this course answered, because, I mean, this is like a life-changing opportunity for a lot of people, and it's a life-altering opportunity. If you spend $1,995, you want to know you're going to get some freaking results, yes? How many of you agree? If you spend $1,995 tonight, you start working with Ricco, you want to know you're getting results. Absolutely. You want your questions answered. You want to know what you're buying before you buy it because you're smart, right? You due diligence. Way to go. That's smart. That's why I spent so long telling you my personal story behind why my success rate or my experience with it, because I'm trying to give you like firsthand knowledge of here's what happened. But I do know that the course, from my experience anyway, this course isn't open beyond the opening date of the course. Otherwise, people are behind, correct?
Yeah, and in a nutshell, this is an ongoing course where we're following up with people, as in real time. So basically, when we start the course, it's like we're in it, we're moving.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So then I would say to you, obviously, that you're not going to have an opportunity to go buy this tomorrow and Friday and or whatever the next day is, because once he gets started, that course is kind of like college. You know what I mean? They do them quarterly. So obviously, once he gets started, he's started. And okay, a couple of you are pointing out that the website says $1,997 instead of $1,995. That's my fault. You'll notice when you go to that link, promonetize.com/go, it actually goes to a shopping cart that it has my face on it, I guess, or my name. Here's why. I don't allow anyone to process payments for my students. It's just the way it is. So love Ricco to death. He's a great guy, but if he's not delivering what he says he would deliver, I don't want to be begging him to refund my students, and so I process all the payments. I send him, or right after you make your purchase, you'll go to a website that asks you for your information, so it forwards on to Ricco, and he'll know that you've purchased and you've enrolled. But I like to make sure that I take care of your payment processing. And so that's why that's the way it is. And I put $1,997 instead of $1,995. So my apologies. That's just that's my mistake. Let's see, Ricco. A couple of people, and this is a really good question. A few people have asked, what do you feel like they need to spend in additional expenses? Because that seems to be everybody's most most asked question is, okay, what is the price? Like, what kind of a budget what's the lowest budget they can have right now? And they also want to know if there's an upsell. So when they buy this course, there's not an upsell, right? Because there's no upsell after they make a purchase, because I set up the shopping cart.
There's no upsell.
Okay, no upsells. And what do you expect them to say or to need to spend to just get started?
Yeah, well, so most of your money is going to be spent on generating leads, and we're going to start with Opt Intelligence. And Opt Intelligence, it costs 50 cents per email address. Usually, I recommend having about 1,000 email addresses. We look at it from the standpoint of before you start making decisions on like scaling a campaign or not. But I have guys who start out with spending $25 a day, and then generating revenue, then getting paid and reinvesting that money back. So I recommend between $250 to $500 that you would need like I said before, to invest into leads, because that's what's really going to be the thing that's going to generate the money for you. So that would be kind of my $250 to $500 as a starting point to start generating some revenue.
Okay, so you feel like with a $250 budget for marketing, not for buying more courses or anything like that, but if they spend $1,995 tonight, they get in your course, that throughout that course they need about $250 to spend on actually generating leads, but as they're generating the leads, they're going to be generating revenue from the sequences, yes?
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point. Yeah, you don't have to buy another training or anything like that. It's just all, everything is about making money. It's all revenue specific.
Okay, so that's very important for everybody to know. It's not about spending the extra money. It's about actually now. It's kind of like it's not buying another car. It's putting gas in the car you just bought so that you can make the wheels turn. And so that's a good analogy for it. Is you're going to spend a little bit of money on your actual business. The 1995 is to get your business up and running, and it's to get the access to the right people to make sure that business is running the right way. And then, of course, the $250 is to run your business. Okay, so that makes total sense. Before I answer any more questions, I just want to see, because I know we can welcome on a few people here. Robert and Lionel, I'll mention a couple, and then I'll go through and mention some more. Some more people here in just a second. How many of you are planning to enroll right now in Ricco's course? I just want to see if you're in the process of getting enrolled, because if you are, then we'll wait on you for a second. If not, we'll get a couple other questions answered, and we'll take off. And hopefully everybody is going to have a really good night. All right, so we've got a few of you, Peter and Mark. Wonderful. If you are interested in doing this, go ahead and do it right now. Obviously, we want to make sure you get enrolled, and then we'll do some of the house cleaning stuff here. Make sure everybody's we run the script and everything to pick our $250 winner, and then kind of close down. So, are there any other questions that you guys have about the actual course? Because if there's anything else I can answer for you, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. I think Ricco has done a phenomenal job, and so I'm excited, Ricco, for the few that actually do join you and work with you, man. I think it's going to be great for them. It's great for me anyway,
Yeah, I do too. And I'm genuinely excited. Anybody who's excited to work with me, I have a genuine excitement to make sure that you're successful. So I can guarantee that. So I'm definitely, whoever's joining, because I can't see all the signups or anything, definitely looking forward to working with you, and just realize that we're here, and our interest is making sure that you're successful.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I see a couple of people asking what countries this works in. It works in all countries. You can do this at any time. I also see a few of you have actually tried to purchase, and it declined your card. Important to note, obviously, sometimes when you're purchasing something that's over $900, $1,000, whatever online, your credit card companies will just decline it. It's just a standard deal, probably smart on their part. So you may have to dial the number on the back of your card and ask them to authorize you to be able to make that charge. It's just kind of like anti-fraud settings. So I noticed a few of you, Dave Grant, I know Colby, and Raphael. I see 3 of you in here that have tried to go through and purchase and had a little bit of an issue there. So that's definitely where that's coming from, for sure. Any other questions that you guys have? Feel free to ask real quick, or forever hold your peace, because I will not be able to answer any more. A couple of people asking. Let's see. Hey Ricco, a couple of people are asking just when the course starts.
It'll start. Let's see here. Let me just look at my calendar here. It'll basically start not this week, but like basically the first week of June, basically.
Okay.
But just to point out, like before that, they'll have kind of like a course syllabus, so to speak, before that. So just be aware of that beforehand. So you kind of will have stuff ready to go before we actually officially get things started. So you guys can kind of all be set, and when the course starts, we're going full steam.
Gotcha. Okay. Good. Yeah. So basically, it's like going to college, and that's what I think is pretty cool. Let's see. can the course be done at your own pace? The course is pretty much done. I mean, I already know because I went through it. I mean, you know, you're going through the course at Ricco's speed, but also at your own pace. That's why they have the people there to help you, because, you know, if you need help at a certain time or a different point, there's somebody there to help you. So that's the cool part about this. It's kind of the nobody gets left behind thing, you know, and that's what I thought was really cool about this, is nobody gets left behind. Dave Grant, welcome aboard. I saw you just said you were in, so welcome, welcome. And Peter, welcome. And Per, welcome. So I try to say hello to as many of you as I can, but I don't want to, you know, spend too much time doing that. Let's see. How many days a week, Ricco? It's an 8-week course, and they want to know basically how many days a week. You know, what kind of schedule? Is it a scheduled training like this? What?
Yeah. So it's a scheduled training each week, but we'll be accessible like any time you need us. Essentially, like you can email our support team, you know, and kind of like Anthony, like it will be either me or one of my guys that will follow up with you. But on top of that, we will literally, you know, if it makes sense, not everybody, you know, we'll in some cases call you, you know, on the phone each week and follow up with you guys. Like, and it won't be me; it'll be one of my guys on my team. Not to sell you anything, but just to make sure you're doing stuff. And if you're having any issues, we can kind of address those then. So it's a really, you know, probably you guys haven't probably experienced that type of stuff before. But that's what we do. Again, this is one of the things that we do to almost ensure that you at least are being held accountable on the things that need to get done in order to be successful.
Gotcha. So I want to be clear on that with all of you. You're talking about some people from your office will call them, you know, but it's not to sell them anything, it's to help them.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, just making sure that they were on the calls, on the trainings, that they've gone through any pre-recorded videos or anything like that, and that they've taken the necessary steps, because there will be very specific steps that we'll be going through. So it's like, did you do this step? So it's not going to be like kind of like, let's talk about your life or anything. It's like, did you do these steps? Yes or no? Do you need help? And then we'll kind of direct you if need be. So so they're very action-oriented calls that we'll be doing. It's part of the boot camp. It's more just an accountability type of call, because that we find gets people to take action, you know, when they know that that's going to be happening.
Okay. And one other question, and then I'm gonna try to wrap it up here, because I know we've been on for a little while. But this is a big decision for people, and I know we're taking up a lot of your time, but I want to make sure that I answer all the questions. They want to know, will they have the same trainer every week, or is it like different people each week for different things? How does that work?
No, it's going to be me doing the main training. My partner Ben will touch upon the outsourcing piece, because he actually oversees our he oversees our project managers. So that's going to be an important piece, and that's his specialty. That's kind of over the years, my partner Ben Williams does that. So he'll be talking about a different aspect, but that'll be later down the road once you are already, you know, generating revenue. You know, you understand the process, and now you're looking to scale. So that's kind of how we structured it.
Gotcha. Okay. So how many of you can see the value in Ricco himself being the trainer, not somebody that's never done this before being the trainer? And Ricco's partner Ben, I know Ben very well. Ben is super freaking smart. He has helped me an awful lot, put it that way. So yeah, so massive value. I mean, these are guys that are doing it right. You know, all I can say is they're good people, and when you get in the presence of good people, good things happen. You know, and that's been my experience, and I do believe that's the experience that you will have. Are there any of you that have any other questions that are on the order form right now? You can't make a decision, yes, no, maybe, and you need me to answer a question. If so, fire it off real fast. If not, we will we'll get so do you know what day of the week, Ricco, these trainings are? Because I know there's a few people asking that.
Usually we kind of take a consensus. Usually it may be like, you know, Wednesday or a Friday, depending. The first one will probably be on a Tuesday, but basically we kind of get a good feel, because usually it's a small group of people, so it's not like we have, like, you know, hundreds of people on these trainings, because they're very intimate. But most likely, if they're not Tuesday, they'll be on Wednesday. That's pretty much what we'll see. And you'll know this. You'll know the schedule in advance, so it's not like, so you can adjust your schedules if you need be. And it's usually during. And I know for this group, like you may be used to having it in the evenings. We usually do it during the business hours, but again, we can adjust, and everything's recorded. So if you need to get back to, if you're working or whatever, you can always watch the recordings. And again, we would be here. So if you can't make it, you can. That doesn't mean that you still can't interact with us after you go through that recording.
Okay, so recorded plus the support, kind of take a consensus and that kind of stuff. So is that good for everybody? Is there anybody that's on the order form that needs me to hold up for a second while you finish your enrollment? I think that's probably, I think we've kind of gone through all the potential questions that we possibly can. I think we've kind of knocked all of that out. There are a select group of you guys that have enrolled. And I would say hey to everybody, but I don't want to go through the entire thing. Anybody that needs a couple of minutes to finish their checkout process, just say yes in the chat, and then once you get enrolled, I will verify you, and then we will pop off. Ricco, the only other question that I see, that I do see an awful lot, and I know that you had told me this is a possibility, but maybe not. So I have no clue. I'm in a hotel in Florida, so I don't know what's going on. But a lot of people are asking if there's a possibility of a payment plan. And I know it's a course. I know we set up a payment plan link for you if that was something you were willing to do. I do not know what your thoughts are on it, but I do. How many of you would be interested in doing this if there was a payment plan? Just say yes. Honestly, clearly you can see the payment plan is not going to be $10 a month. I mean, it's expensive. It's $2,000, but okay. Well, I see a lot of people that say yes, they would be interested if there was a payment plan. I know that when you and I talked, I told you the payment plan had to be a higher price point than the full pay package, because we have to be fair to the people that paid in full. That's the way I always do things. But I don't even know if you had said that was yes, no, maybe. I'll let you kind of speak to that if that's something you want to do. It's your deal. I set up the link. I sent it to you, but it's up to you.
Yeah, we did talk about it, and yeah, usually I don't do it, or if I do it, it's like a very case-by-case basis, like has to make sense. But yeah, I mean, I did kind of decide to add that in there. So yeah, let me just pull that up here real quick because I did add a slide in there. Yeah, so basically, and honestly, guys, this is not something that I do regularly, but I after talking with Anthony, I said, okay, this is something I can offer to the group. So yeah, so we can do a 3 payment option of $747 per month, and if you're interested in that, let me just pull this up here. Yeah, so you can if you wanted to do the 3 pay option, it's basically promonetize.com/3pay, and you could get access to that. Just make sure.
All right, so yeah, so you're good. Now let's be totally transparent, because people get really excited and they will rush and go purchase this for the $747, and I want to be totally clear, because normally when I do it, I kind of print out. I know I didn't even know if you were doing this. The total price on it's a little over $2,200. So there is a premium that you pay if you do the financing plan, but it allows you to get in right now and get going and get started. And honestly, the course is only 2 months. So Ricco told you, you should be making money within the first 2 months. That's the goal of the course. So technically speaking, you should be making money before you've ever even paid it off, or paid your 3rd payment. How many of you are going to take advantage of the 3-pay payment option now? Just say yes in the chat box so I know what we're looking at. And then, okay, so Nancy, Mark, Sadiq, Moses, Spence, Sang, Joanne, Keith, Letitia, Miguel, let's see. Ronald wants to do the OnePay. Well, Ronald, I think you had said a question. Ricco, can you, I don't know if you can get out of PowerPoint and show people how to go to the URL, but I did notice a couple of people they're putting it in the chat box, or I'm sorry, like in the Google box. Can you show them what there's? Okay, so look, you need to put your URL up here in that URL box. You can bring it back.
Okay, yeah. So okay.
Yeah. You put it up here in this URL box where Ricco, click up there in the URL box. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you put these website addresses. You don't go to Google and search them. So I think, Ronald, that was you were wanting to do the OnePay, but you weren't able to find the website address. It's because you've got to type it in up here. This is the 3Pay one. And so you can see my face pop up there. I needed a haircut at the time. And then, of course, if you go to the OnePay, obviously it will bring you to this page right here. It's going to add both to his shopping cart, but you can see, yeah, it's just got the shopping cart, but you can see it'll look like this. So you actually put it into the people are laughing because I said I need a haircut. It's just the way that it goes. But yeah, so anyway, I see a ton of you are taking advantage here of the payment plan, so I'm stoked about that. That is super exciting. Yeah, I think that's just I don't know, that's an awesome deal. So yeah, go ahead and take advantage of that right now. I'm going to get ready here to run our little script and get this thing knocked out. Yeah, and also Thomas asked, yeah, you can click the links right here in the chat. I typed those out earlier. That's no problem too. But definitely go ahead. I see a lot of you asking, like, can you do this at a later date? That will be determined based, I think, on how many people enroll. Because I know you have a cap size on your classes, yeah.
Yeah, I like to keep it at a certain number. We have, like I said, we have a team that kind of helps out, but there's hundreds of people on this call, so I mean, I have no idea how many people are going to sign up. So we'll kind of make a determination after all the dust settles to figure out if we would kind of bring any more people on, at least for this round. But me and Anthony will talk and we'll kind of determine that.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's to be determined, I think, based on the results from tonight, the number of people that enrolled tonight. So obviously we hope to see you all on. I saw a lot of you saying you were getting enrolled on the payment plan part, so that's obviously really good. I'm going to go ahead and pick our $250 winner so that those of you who are just on here for the $250 prize can hop off. Those of you, how many of you are still on the order form? Just say yes for me, because I want to know when we should close down, but I know a couple of people had some problems on the order form, so I'm trying to stay on until I make sure that you are okay. So yeah, I see Nancy Edwards saying all of you on the order form. Charlene's on the order form. So all right, I'll hang tight. Nick, do you mind picking the winner for me for the $250? Sorry, it's been a long day of travel for me. So I am trying to keep it all straight. All right, everybody, give me just a second, and we will. Nick will let me know who has won our prize. All right, so our winner for tonight is it's Richard Curtis. So Richard Curtis, you are the winner. So congratulations. For those of you that are still here with us, well, Richard, we'll be sending you an email. Nick, if you could just send me Richard's email address, please, sir, and I will. Richard, I'll reach out to you and take and make sure I shoot you an email to get your address, and we'll get you a check in the mail. Can everybody say thanks to Ricco? That would, obviously a lot of you have said thanks to me, but I think a big thank you to Ricco is in order. All right, yes, everybody's saying thank you to Ricco. This is very good. We appreciate it, Ricco. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of people getting enrolled right now at the last minute, which is obviously awesome. And hopefully we'll have a lot of people there to work with you, man, and go through your course. I think it'll be a great thing.
Yeah, awesome, and yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate the love. This is awesome. Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited. You guys are excited. That helps with the momentum, and I'm all about momentum. So awesome. And Anthony, obviously, thank you for having me here and letting me speak to the guys. And even if you didn't sign up, hopefully you got some value out of this and kind of just really got your mindset to what's possible out there. So if I could at least do that, I feel that I've done a good job. So thanks, guys, sincerely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing is people get get value out of this, and that is obviously the number one goal, is that everybody that has enrolled here feels like they've got good value, and if they didn't enroll, they feel like they got just great value from being on the training with us, because I know we've spent a lot of time doing it, but it's been a lot of fun. So awesome. Well, listen, everybody. Like I always say, I like to leave you with a little bit of motivation, but I won't go too far into the motivation stuff tonight because I know it's late. But listen, congratulations to all of you for being here. Like I said, the numbers get smaller and smaller in terms of how many people get on our webinar sessions each week, and we're looking at the people that are on week in, week out, every Thursday, spending their time with us. You're the all-stars, You're the ones that are committed to your success, and we'll keep doing these as long as you, as long as you stay committed. That's the plan, and I think that's what's, that's what's really important for you anyway, and for your success, is that we stay on top of everything. We make sure that we help you. We make sure that we do what we need to do to give you every chance at being successful. And that's, to me, that's our job. That's what's important for us. And your job is to stay motivated. I will say this. I did see somebody the other day say that it's not important to stay away from negative people and to stop watching the news and all that stuff. That it's actually just ridiculous to try to shield yourself from the real world, from society, from the things that are going on around you. But I'll say this. I disagree. I think when you guys get into Ricco's course, you need to shield yourself from all the BS. Quit reading your emails unless they come from me, because they're not going to be crazy, stupid, outlandish emails. But don't read emails that promise you click this button, make $1 million bucks, click here, this fake actor made $2 million, you can do it too, they stole all this crap. Shield yourself from all that nonsense, and please just focus. Just focus on what he is teaching you. Focus on what he says to do. Entrench yourself in the process. And as with anything can be learned. And anyone can learn anything. It all comes down to your level of dedication. That's what determines your level of success, is your level of dedication, because I already know his level of knowledge and his ability to teach and relay that knowledge, and his team's ability to help you is first class. So that part's taken care of. Now it comes down to you. Will you just buy his course, show up every week, do the song and dance and go on about your life and waste your money? I hope not. I really do. If you show up and you try and you implement and you learn and you educate yourself and you focus, you can have massive success with the stuff he's teaching. So my suggestion to you is get your mind right. Get your mind ready for success, and you'll have massive success with this course. So with that said, we're going to wrap up for the night. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to congratulate all of you that have enrolled in Ricco's course, and I want to encourage all of you that are sitting on the fence, because a lot of you said, Yes, Anthony, yes, we're going to enroll right now because this payment plan. And some of those names I read out, I'm not seeing as members. I want to encourage you, take the jump. You know what I'm saying? Take the leap. Get enrolled. Work with Ricco. It's definitely changed our lives and the way we've done business in our office. And I 100% believe it will change the way you do yours, and it will give you the success that you want and need, and the personalized attention from somebody that actually gives a rip, and not some guy that's just out trying to sell you a course that you'll never use. So please, by all means, get enrolled, get ready, and have massive success. Ricco, I want to thank you again for being here, man. It's been a lot of fun. We dropped a lot of knowledge on everybody. I'm excited, and I look forward to seeing the results from our students.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, likewise.
All right, everybody. Again, the website addresses are here on the screen. We'll leave them up for a couple of minutes. We're going to sign off. Good night to everybody. Have a great and safe holiday weekend if you're here in the States. And we look forward to seeing you all right here next week, same time, same place, next Thursday, for some more amazing, if I do say so myself, training and knowledge that'll be brought to you by the Inbox Inner Circle team. So good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go sign up right now. We'll see you soon.
Take care, guys.